Hey, Fran fam, welcome to Life and Style with Francyne. Before we get started, I definitely want to dedicate this show to Chadwick Boseman, who passed away this Friday after fighting stage 4 colon cancer. Definitely, my heart goes out to his family, his friends, and his fans. And so before we get started, I just want to make sure we dedicated this time to Chadwick and given him his due. It was a very sad day. We all had a moment. I know I did. And I'm just glad he was able to fulfill the legacy with Black Panther, 42, Get On Up, Message to Kings, and The Five Bloods, and Ma Rainey Black Bottom, which is due out. I can't wait to see it. But without further ado, I am pleased to welcome, it is National Matchmaker Day. Let me add that. So this is a perfect day to interview my next guest, Caroline McBride. She is the author of 4 Seasons at Angelino's. And let me tell you, I read the book in 2 days. I got the advanced copy or the preview copy Friday, and I started reading, and I couldn't put it down. So please join me in welcoming Caroline McBride to the show. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Francyne. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you for asking. I'm so excited that you're here to talk about the book. It was a great combination of love, travel, food, and what I liked about it was the pace. Talk about
fast.
It was fast. It was. And was it fast for you writing? Because it was drawn on your experiences, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Well, it's called 4 Seasons at Angelino's because it's meant to take place over a year.
Yeah.
But you'll find in a year a lot can happen. And definitely there's plenty of drama and adventures in the book. As far as the writing process, it took me, I thought I was done. I thought I wrote it in one summer, the summer of 2018. But little did I know that it would go through several revisions, and I got some feedback that has been invaluable that really strengthened the entire story. So I wrote it in 2018, revised, and then in November 2019, I signed with my publisher, Post Hill Press. So unfortunately, they move fast. Usually in the publishing world, you sign, you don't see that book for a year and a half, but they got it out by July 21st.
Talk about how much of the book was based on your life.
I get that question a lot, and I tell people that many of the work adventures, the protagonist is a restaurant publicist, as I have been for 10 years, and she's traveling around the world, opening restaurants, just like I do, and she has all kinds of mishaps, and some exciting things happen, some bad things that happen. But the work part, I'd say about 85% you can twist and turn. However, this is a romantic cut. The romance, all those relationships, that was maybe 20% reality. So,
okay.
You know, every place I write about in the book, I have been to. I have physically stepped foot in every hotel, every restaurant that's referenced. I like to really run the gamut. Here in Los Angeles, where I am right now, there's Mel's Diner on the Sunset Strip. It's been around for decades. And it's just this cool 24-hour diner. So I put things like places like that in. And then I also, you know, kind of get a little glitzy glamour with Monaco and Paris and Alain Ducasse restaurant at the Plaza Athénée. So it's all mixed up, and I want people to hopefully be able to relate to it in different ways. It could just be the Highline Park in New York City that I included. I tried not to go for too much of the stereotypical, like Eiffel Tower in Paris, for example.
Sure.
Every chapter is named after a different city. So.
Yeah. And you know what I liked about the different chapters is they weren't necessarily, like you say, they weren't the Eiffel Tower. It wasn't, obvious places, but you were so descriptive in your storytelling that it placed me there, and even down to what you wore, to each event, to each, Angelino's opening. And it was kind of cool because with each season you had opening, it was a new guy. That's true, girl. After is it? Am I saying is it Jorge or George?
Jorge, if you want to go. Yeah.
So even after Jorge, it's like, okay, and I won't give away the story, but just one of the characters where, I think what I loved about your story is, it's National Matchmakers Day. I know I could use a matchmaker right about now, but living vicariously through you, to some degree, your story and your character, Charlotte, you actually, licked your wounds and then continue to move forward every time. I won't say after who, because you have to read the book, but you licked your wounds. But it reminded me so much of myself at one point in time, and a lot of us, where when we are endeavoring to find long-lasting love, permanent love, where, you get the picket fence, the children and the dashing husband, we look at every person as a potential. And I liked how, sometimes that can be to our detriment, but they self-selected a lot of times. Your character self-selected, and it made it easier for you to kind of move on, So we won't say how many times you moved on, but it was just refreshing, and that you kind of, that's what I liked about the protagonist. She kept it moving, literally kept it moving, globe-trotting, and coming to, and the growth.
Yes. That was key.
That was very key. And it was very good to see. It was just good. It was a great story, great background, as far as the different places and all the food and that kind of thing. Who are anybody, or is anybody, any of your characters based on, or is it just a compilation of people that you meet?
So, it's definitely a composite. By the way, you picked up on so much. The idea is that within a year, she's so desperate to find Mr. Right. She'll date anybody and everybody. She's just jumping headfirst into relationships. Maybe this is the one. Maybe that's the one. So she's all over the place, scattered. As far as the characters, I tried to make them as real as possible. And what I did, having been in the restaurant industry for over a decade and worked with different groups, and also been a publicist, I've also worked in the beauty space and in other hospitality areas. So the idea was to take a composite of everything. So, you have the Italian chef that's just so passionate, but also dramatic about his food. And you have some of the people she dates, the bartender. So, so much of this centers around the restaurant. Sure. And so many people, because I've worked in restaurants, I always tell people, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes to bring that meal. And so often it's, again, very stereotypical, but you have the sexy bartender, you know, the guy who's got the muscles and the girls are there and they're checking him out. And so I wanted to add that to the story. And you know, without giving too much away, he does become a love interest, the hot bartender from the restaurant group. Yeah. And so I tried to take all of this and sort of wrap it. And you know, there's a publicist in Miami who's a little difficult. And I took like little ideas, you know, being in PR.
That was interesting. That chapter was interesting in and of itself. Just, you know, if you know anything about Florida, you know anything about Miami and, you know, Haiti and Haitian culture, without giving anything away, that played out very, very interesting, to say the least. But yeah, that was good. I liked that. I love the book, honestly. It was really good. It was like, did I just finish? You know, it's been a minute since I finished a book in 2 days, but I wanted to have a full experience of this story before we spoke. So it was actually a very pleasant experience to first of all relate to it as a woman who's also, or someone who has been looking for love, not just myself, or, you know, just anybody could pick up your book and see themselves in pursuit, you know. And like you said, it's like, is this the one? Is that the one? And I think it's just a natural process to do that, right? When you are in this mode, whether it's desperate, I don't know, whether it's desperation or not, you're looking at everybody, right?
Oh, it's so true. And I definitely cover that in the book. I have online dating. What happens when you're on a dating app and you see one of your coworkers? Awkward, you know? I have the matchmakers included in there, and just all the leaps and bounds we go to when we're looking for love. And, you know, the moral, or sort of one of the lessons to take away, is that here she has this great friend, a male friend, Wyatt, and he's sort of in the background, but he's not moving fast enough for her because she is in a hurry. Yeah. And, you know, maybe sometimes when we're looking for love, we should look in our friends circle. You never know. And I will say, I thought that this would appeal to women. Like, that's why I wrote it. And I was taking a lot of my friends' adventures, my own adventures, and somehow incorporating it in one way or another, just trying to make it resonate in the story. But what surprised me is that men actually like this book. So, you know, several of my male friends bought the book, and I figured, oh, they're just doing it to be nice. Oh, they actually read it from cover to cover. I'm getting feedback. I had one man who lives in New York text me, and late at night, he's like, I'm on page 282 and I'm really angry. I don't know what? I got I'm like, oh yeah, she's stuck working, you know, with her boss. And he's like, no, she should have gone and met the guy. You know, so he had this whole different take. It's so funny that guys could see it. And I said, well, maybe the guy should have communicated. I'm not naming names because I don't want to give it away, but I'm like, maybe he should have communicated a little better with her. Yeah. And, you know, it's just funny how men like rom-coms too. I don't know if they all want to admit it, but it's meant to be humorous. And again, with this pandemic, I'm happy that I could showcase so many different cities and places, because it's such a shame we're grounded right now.
Right. Right now, I say all the time, our passports are as good as a comb with no teeth. You know, so you taking us on this journey of love was kind of a very international, with an international twist, was very good. And like, yeah, you know, looking forward to doing that again soon, traveling, that is. And of course, with a boo.
Yeah, that always makes it more fun.
Oh, you know, I mean, and maybe some rosé and fish.
Yes.
So that was yummy.
It's funny. So again, you know, in the story, Charlotte, the main character, she meets this dashing Frenchman, and, you know, it's more of something just physical. She wanted it to be deeper, and he doesn't have the same idea. But the place that's featured, Capistel, I actually did go there with a date, and it was funny because unlike the story, in reality, when I was there with a date, we just realized we weren't for each other, but we loved the place so much that we extended our stay. And it's a testament to how great and unique the place is. So I tried to, you know, cover some little corners that maybe people wouldn't know about. And pretty much I've probably asked 200 people throughout my travels. Maybe one person has heard of this place, Capistel, just in my circle before I wrote the book. So
wow.
Really
You know, it is a rom-com, but it's inspirational, and maybe just as where I am, where the pandemic has made it very difficult, you know, well, for me, I'm still quarantining. Everybody else is out. And so, you know, no disrespect to anybody that is out and about, that's fine. But it's like, to some degree, it's like dating at this point has a different risk involved. Where, you know, I wear my mask, but it's like the thought of putting on a mask, and then it's like, you know, I don't know, you're meeting this person, it's like, I don't know who they've been around. And so it makes dating very difficult, you know, unless you're doing the online dating and the virtual dating that I've seen some people get real innovative and do. But it is very inspirational that you say that in real life, it didn't work out that way, and you guys decided to stay, because not all, it's almost like when you're looking for a real special kind of love, you know, that one, it's not a lot that end up being the one.
right. There's one, the one.
There's only one, you know, so everybody else is kind of like, and I like the way each story kind of, they self-selected themselves for one reason or another, you know, they self-selected out, and you kept it moving. So when you say men liked it, it's like, you know, men kind of frown upon, you know, us moving on like they move on, but it was so necessary. And I think what added to that was the fact that they were in different countries.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Well, and the idea is with each man, there's a lesson. There's an underlying lesson.
Yeah.
Like, if a man says, I don't want to ever have kids again, chances are you're not going to be able to change his mind. Maybe, but probably not. So Charlotte learns this in the story. And, you know, to your point too, I try to have some subplots that hopefully have a deeper meaning, even beyond romance. Like there's an anti-drug theme sort of woven throughout.
I saw that. Yeah.
Also with the drinking, Charlotte makes her worst decisions. Usually she's had a few too many, you know, she makes bad decisions. Yeah. And then also, you know, as far as steamy, it's really tricky now in the rom-com genre, because there's a lot of pressure to have like really spicy scenes. And on one hand, I wanted to keep it PG, but then on the other hand, you know, it's an adult living in New York. I also wanted to make it real, but you'll find that, you know, the true love, it's just, they're just getting to know each other on a higher level, not just a physical level. Where some of these other men, it's physical, it's moving fast. She's not stopping to think. Like, let's try to get to know one another, you know, here before getting physical. And so I was, you know, trying to kind of weave these themes in. And of course, there's an adoption subplot that, you know, I hope will warm people's hearts. And again, not on a romantic level, but just like on a human level. Yeah.
I also like how you included some mate poaching
The
It's like,
frenemy.
no, she didn't. It's like, yes, she did. It's like, whoa, that was a plot twist. And it, but the way it twisted itself, everybody, I think, even if it wasn't intentional, for me, that meant, well, there's somebody for everybody. And unfortunately, you had already started, Charlotte already was picking up some vibes from this character, Tracy. So, the distance you were very, even in your looking for a romantic relationship, your platonic friendships were shifting. So that was an interesting, thing where sometimes before we meet that one, things are shifting, and you had, what I loved was your characters, your male characters spoke to your higher call, so to speak.
Right. That's so true. That's so true.
And encouraging you to, ascend a little higher as it relates to your career aspirations. So it was just a very inspirational rom-com for me. Maybe I was looking for inspiration in this space. It's just so much ugliness right through here that, that love is still the answer, in whatever form you can get it. We would like to have it in all forms, but you still, there was the balance of friendships, that aspect of it, the balance, whether it was a male friendship or a female friendship, because you knew Wyatt for 10 years, the milkshake scene and that was cute. That was real cute. And then, the Christmas gift, we won't give that away, but it was just, it just seems like, sometimes it seems like we're missing something, and yet we're not. We're dodging a bullet.
Right.
Not really missing anything from, whatever character we want to talk about, but it was just kind of good. I'd like to think these guys just made a perfect backdrop for your international escapades, even though it was all work related. You got an opportunity to do that. What made you decide to write this book? I mean, you obviously love what you do. Why a rom-com novel? Why?
Well, rom-com by definition has a happy ending. So that's exactly what I think I was aiming for, because there's, like you said, I mean, there's so much going on in society. Everybody has a struggle.
Yeah.
And I personally love rom-com books. I love rom-com movies. And
Yeah.
I like a happy ending. So not sure how life will turn out, but I know I can write a happy ending.
Sure.
And, at the time, my late partner passed away in October of 2018. And it was the summer that I had decided, it was the summer that I had decided to write the book. And part of it was because him and I were always talking about books and going to bookstores, and that was inspirational. I feel like, I've always kind of had writing in my blood. I'd written a master thesis, and I find with my career, I constantly have to write, be it speeches or just marketing materials. Like, writing has always been something that I've had to do, but then to be able to write for pleasure and write something fun. And I figured all these places that I visited and all these interesting characters that I've met around the world, let me try to incorporate it in a way that I can create an interesting story. Yeah. So that's how it came about. And, of course, after that, there's a whole issue of getting published, and that's that's, it's very hard for most of us writers to get published. So that was a time-consuming and long endeavor, but finally it happened. So I was just happy to see it through.
Where can we find Four Seasons at Angelino's?
Four Seasons at Angelino's is pretty much everywhere. It's on, you can go to my website because I have the different outlets listed. My website's carolinemcbride.com, or Amazon worldwide. Anybody can order it. Target has it, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, a bookshop. So I'm very happy that it's available for everybody. Okay.
And there is definitely this definitely is a rom-com because there is a happy ending.
Yes.
And I was like, wait, I want more. So is a sequel in the works maybe? Do you see yourself doing some? You have to, Caroline.
Absolutely. In fact, I am finishing up chapter 27 of the 27 chapter sequel that's coming up, and it literally picks up the next day. Because so often at the end of a book or a movie, there's just that, yay, like that happiness.
Yeah.
And then it's fade out, right? And it's over. Yeah. But then what happens the next day? Life is still life, and there's challenges and there's more adventures to be had. So I'm really excited about the sequel. I covered a new set of cities: Philadelphia, Boston, within the US, Houston, of course, New York and LA are always in there. And then I wanted Mexico City, because I'm like, hey, I'm kind of neglecting Latin America over here, Dubai, Italy. So yeah, it's exciting. And again, I only write about places that I've been to. So fortunately, I've traveled a lot, but I just want to share those experiences with people in like a fun, familiar way, or a new, exciting way if they've never been.
Now, before we go, are you still? So you're an author, but you're still in the business, correct?
Yes, I am. I mean, with the pandemic, we'll see. I'm really hoping and praying that all our restaurants make it through.
Yes. Fingers crossed. Yes.
So hard on the restaurant industry because, already the restaurant industry is very, the margins are very slim. You have to keep a full house. It's so tough to make it in that industry during good times. So during rough times, let's hope that everybody makes it through.
Yeah, they will. And we look forward to the sequel. And again, it was definitely a pleasure to read a book that just kind of, it was a page turner, and it was quick. It was like, okay, I'm like, I've got how many pages? 320? Oh, okay. So it's like 284. It's like, okay, I got 16. It's like, I'm not going to bed until I finish this book. It was just a pleasure to read. It was not laborious at all. So good luck to you. We look forward to the sequel. Again, it was a pleasure. And
hopefully we're going to make it into a series, a movie or a series.
Well, you know what? I was just thinking, it reminded me, there is a show called Modern Love on Amazon Prime.
Yes. Great show. Love it.
Oh my God, I love that show.
So good.
It would be so perfect. It would be great. It would be a great episode and a great, because I think love is possible when we do the work. And literally you were doing both. You were working while finding love. And then when you took a chance, I think the moral for me was be open, and you were open, and each person enabled you to do that. So
the character Charlotte, I'm like, it's not me. Disclaimer.
Yes. And exactly. Let me say that. But I mean, it's like, okay, I'm making the connection. It's like, yes, enabled the character Charlotte to do just that. Even if she had red hair,
My sister said, you set yourself up. It's like you have a redhead and she's in the restaurant industry. She's a publicist. What do you expect people to think?
Exactly.
But, I want to write what I know.
Yeah. But you know what? The great thing is it just says that it was so realistic and lifelike that happened. So it's almost a good thing and a bad thing, but I think more good than bad. So, but thank you so much. Good luck to you. It was a pleasure, and we look forward to the series, the movie, the sequel, and anything else that you desire to write. Thank you
so much, Francyne, and I can't wait to see more of your interviews. You're fabulous. You're doing such a great job.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Wow. If you want to check out the book, you can definitely go to what is it? Books are available at www.carolinemcbride.com or Amazon, Target, Books A Million, and Barnes and Nobles. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can certainly drop us a line at lifeandstylewithfrancyne@gmail.com or follow us at Francyne Walker TV on Instagram. Like us, Life and Style with Francyne on Facebook. And don't forget to like and subscribe don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Again,